What's going down, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Holmes Hobbies Motor Control. It's your boy Josh, aka Coleman. We're getting ready to head over to the workbench, and today we're gonna try to figure out how to mount a servo for the steering wheel in the XJ build. And I'm a little short on Holmes Hobbies servos right now, so what we're gonna do, because I don't want to use an SHV 500 for a steering wheel servo, it's just overkill, so we're gonna use an HV 500 out of the I actually have one in one of my other builds that we're gonna steal out of the Sarge, and we'll wind up putting an SHV 500 in that to replace it. But we're gonna go ahead and rob that for now and see if we can't figure out a way to get it mounted. I don't know if we'll get all the way through to the end of it today, just because I don't really know how I'm gonna go about doing it. So we're gonna be kind of figuring it out as we go. Also, I'm watching the little man today, and I don't know if you can tell, but he is in the other room watching the Dude in Blue. And if you're not familiar with the Dude in Blue, shout out to the Dude in Blue's channel. It's a good, like, you know, amateur car review channel, I guess you could call it, but the guy's been killing it for a while. So my son likes car shows, and the Dude in Blue is what made him stop crying today. So that being said, I will be back and forth between dealing with my son and shooting this video, so it probably won't come out until this evening, but that's all right. That's all right. Anyways, you guys, let's get started. All right, you guys, for those of you that aren't familiar with the XJ, here it is. I've got a bunch of names for it so far. People are calling it the SexJ. I've got people calling it all kinds of stuff. I personally have been referring to it as Cookie. I don't know why. I don't know. It screams cookie to me. Cookie dough. I don't know. The black and white and the... I don't know. I don't really know why, but it's Cookie, man. So far, I've been calling it Cookie. And, this is how it's looking so far. You can see it's got all kinds of cool stuff installed on it, and we'll go over all of that later on. However, it is not painted yet. It's still basically in mock-up form. You can see the interior's not finished. The back seat's kind of just floating around in there right now. But today, I plugged the battery into it, and I did not get any life. So something's not right. I plugged the battery in, and all of the lights turned on that are installed so far, like the rock lights and stuff, but I did not have any servo action. I did not have any ESC action, and my winches weren't working. So something is loose, something is not plugged in, and I need to go through and actually work on the wiring anyway. So that's what we're gonna do. Right now I'm gonna go check on my son though.
Elon Musk has sold $4 million in flamethrowers so far. And even after hitting that number, he would still have 12,000 flamethrowers left to sell.
Alright, you guys, so now that we've got the body off, you can see where we're sitting here. The majority of this stuff is actually getting pretty close to done. The thing seems to work really well. Suspension works great. Everything works really great. Back seats just kind of floating around. Front seats actually lay down and swivel a little bit, which is pretty cool. I didn't really plan for that, but it worked out. And yeah, it's just, I still have a lot of work to do, I guess. But anyways, right now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this interior. That way I can get to the electronics. I know there's some wires still completely disconnected under here, but I don't remember it being to the point where I couldn't turn it on. So we're going to basically just address everything today and see what we can get done. Oh, and as far as the servo goes, it's actually going to be going right here. This is going to be where the servo mounts. So I need to cut into this area right here, and yeah, there we go. I might actually wind up mounting the servo here instead. I'm just not sure yet. I need to figure it out still. So, and these are just mocked in position. I actually need to take these off of here, and I'm gonna cut here, and these are gonna sink down and go flush with the white part here. That way the hood will be aligned properly. Alright, you guys, here you can see the layout. Still, obviously it's not done, so it's a little sloppy, but all together it's looking pretty good, honestly, if you ask me. I like the layout. I do need to work on tidying this up back here and figuring out exactly what I'm going to do with some of these wires. But and this right here will get bolted down too, so that won't be sticking up. And that's about it, really. I mean, there's not a whole lot to go over here. It's just an SCX10, I guess. All right, so let's figure out what's wrong with this thing.
They tear up some stuff out there. It's a battle of the fitness with four-wheel drive, rigs that go through the desert, through the rocks, you name it. You know, they got to go through it.
Alright, you guys, it is a new day and we're back at the bench. That other episode just kept running. I wasn't able to finish it all in a day. So here we are back on the bench working on the SCX10 Cherokee build. And here's basically what happened. After stripping this back down, I got a wild hair to just... yeah, I just wasn't happy with it. So basically I ripped all the wiring back apart. It's a lot of it's back together now, but I had ripped all of this wiring apart and there wasn't nothing really to show you guys because it's just, I felt there was too much wire here and there was a lot of stuff where I could have shortened wires and you know, tied things together and really just made it work better. And so I'm still in the midst of cleaning that up. You can see I've got disconnected wires and stuff and really, you know, it's a lot better, even though it doesn't look like it yet. I managed to get rid of a lot of wires that were on here, still retain all of the same functions, and I actually added some functions. I added a winch down setup. So basically, in order to do winch down without adding an extra winch, all I did was made my own strap that hooks to the upper link connecting point up here on the top of the axle, and ran it underneath of my steering arm here. And these stickers don't stay on for nothing. Those are horrible stickers. But and then what it does is it pulls this, whoop, just like that. It'll pull that in like that, and it pulls it nice and tight. So yeah, added some function. I'll probably add that to the back as well. And another thing that I added was my ESP anti-spur kit. So I know it's a mess right now, it's wires everywhere, but back behind there you can see there's an actual ESP anti-spur kit now. Instead of a homemade setup, that's the official one. So, well, it's one of my prototypes. So here is the original anti-spur. This is the concept of the anti-spur kit. This is what used to be in there, and it was functional, believe it or not. So got rid of that and had a real one made. Shout out to Chris at SBC for helping me get that accomplished. So that being said, what we're going to do now is finish installing the stuff. So I just went to the hobby shop and I got, where is it? I think I already threw away. Here, I went and got one of these, Y harness with a reverser. So this is a servo reversing Y harness, and basically what that does is exactly what it says. You can plug a servo into it and it will reverse the direction of that servo. So therefore, if you have two servos and you need one to turn this way, and under that same command from the controller you need the other one to turn the other way, this will help get that done. And I need that because I need my secondary. Basically what I'm doing is I've got my steering servo here, which is a Holmes Hobbies SHV 500, and I'm planning on putting another servo inside of the dash to turn the steering wheel. But the problem is if I just wire them straight in with the Y harness, I can't talk today, Y harness, the one servo will turn the wrong direction. So basically I need this in order to make that other servo turn properly. Now it's not as simple as just plugging in a Y harness and then voila, because I can't stand having wires laying everywhere. So I have to make this Y harness disappear into this chassis setup to where you can't really see it, and also so it's plug and play, so that when I remove the interior portion of this, it just unplugs and boom, pops right out nice and easily. Simple, easy to service, and yeah, that's what I'm going for, minimal wires. So what I've done is, because I'm running an SHV 500, it gets power straight from the battery, so it has two cords coming out. It has basically a signal and a ground, and then it has a power and a ground. At least I believe that's what they are, and they come out. And so what I did is, because I already have power, auxiliary power up here in the front, I was thinking ahead. I ran auxiliary power. I've got two 12-volt or battery powered, these are 12 volt, so two 12 volt outputs, and then I have two 6-volt outputs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into the I'm going to get power from the 6 volts, and then I'm going to get signal from this, and I'm going to wire it in a way that I can still unplug it. So yeah, you guys will see. Let's do it. All right, you guys, here it is. I kind of skipped forward. I got a bunch of stuff done. Obviously, it's not finished. It's not painted. There's no lights wired into it, and I still need to build axles for it. But this will give you a general sense of what I'm going for here. You know, overland focused trail rig, something that, you know, can be daily driven yet still perform awesome on trail and have all the amenities, you know, the winch, the snorkel, sand ladders, the you know, all the good stuff, all the fun stuff is there, right? The hood opens now. I got that on there. I figured out how to make these hinges work finally. It's not perfect, but they do work. And right there, I don't know if you guys can see that because it's so dark in here right now, but there is a Holmes Hobbies HV 500. So it is the old school. I don't remember which version it was, if it was a Gen 1 or a Gen 2. But I've had it for a while. It's a little noisy, but it gets the job done. The thing is still extremely powerful. And I wanted it to be all Holmes Hobbies. I didn't want to use a mini servo, and I didn't want to use a cheap servo in there. I wanted it to be powerful. And then obviously right here, we've got the SHV 500 running the actual steering. So HV 500, SHV 500. That is pretty cool. And here you can see all my plugs, my harness basically set up for plugging in all my different things. This one right here is for plugging in the servo, which is not plugged in right now. So the servo plugs into the far back one. This one right here is actually going to be for the light signal, so I can have my tail lights and all that stuff will work properly, my reverse lights and everything. These other two are 6-volt auxiliary, and these two are 12-volt auxiliary. So it's set up pretty... Let me back that up. It's set up pretty good, man. I can pretty much plug everything in that I need to plug in, and it all functions. Right now, I do not have my fans on there. They're sitting over here, and I do not have the harness plugged in because I have a servo reversing Y harness now that controls this, and that is right here. So what we'll do is I'll plug in the servo reversing Y harness, and then we'll plug in the servo, and I'll fire this thing up and show you guys that it works. All right. So I just tucked the wire in for now. I'm just gonna pull it out. It's right here. Then we're gonna go ahead and plug the Y harness in first. The Y harness is plugged in. I have to figure out which one of these inputs here or whatever is the reverser and which one is standard, and I just popped that right off there. It's alright, it's just temporary. Alright, so we got that to stay. That's just temporarily on there. Like I said, this is just mocked up for now. Alright, let's turn it around here. I'm going to show you guys how I've got the battery set up. This is also just mocked up for now. I'm going to have to figure something out with that rear thing there. But, as you can see, the battery is hidden in the back here. So, we'll just go ahead and plug it in real quick. Actually, let's turn this radio on. There we go. We'll plug it in real quick. We'll just leave that open for now. Actually, I guess we can shut it. Alright, so here it is turned on. You can see I do have some lights installed. I've got the bumper lights here, and then I've also got rock lights installed underneath from Phoenix Design LEDs. And here we go. Let's see if we've got this plugged into the right one. It might go the opposite direction. Oh, looks like we got it right. We have steering wheel control. That is great. You can see there's not a lot of movement going on in there, nothing crazy happening. The hardest part will be I've got to hide these wires still, but I think I've got that figured out. You can see there's a little bit of movement, but not a lot. So I'm pretty stoked, man. I'm pretty stoked. I think this is going to work out good. Pretty excited. I also built a little tablet holder over here on the side. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I built a little tablet holder, and you can move it around, I think. Well, it doesn't move around much here, but there we go. You can move that around too. I put a cup holder in there. I'm just having fun with it, you know. I also put a dash in, and it is all prepped to be lit, so once I have the lights in there, you can't really see that from here. I'll show you guys a better version of the dash, the gauge cluster and all that here on another episode, but it's working, man. It's working. Pretty cool. And I did some other stuff too. The winches work both front and rear, so you can see here's the rear one here. I don't remember which button it is. I think it's this button. No, wrong one. There we go. So that winch works. And the front winch works too. We'll talk more about that on another episode. Anyways, you guys, I got that done. I just wanted to show you that was what I was after. You know, I don't work that well on camera, so I had to cut it off and just get it done. Other than that, let me know what you want to see more of. We're going to be going hard. It's a marathon thing right now. So that being said, I'm going to get up out of here. I got a lot of editing to do. Peace, check, grease, fam. Yeah.